Today, you and I will resolve one of the biggest paradoxes, contradictions in the history of business presentations. But first, common sense times 3. Common sense number 1. Your ancestors, how did they get from cave 1 to cave 2? How did they do that? Via a forest trail or a savanna trail or a swamp trail? It was the story trail. Imagine you had been a caveman or a cavewoman and you hired McKinsey, the strategy consultants, to get you from cave 1 to cave 2. 7 million PowerPoint slides with 5 billion bullet points. Certain death. Story is survival. Bullet point is death. Common sense number 2. You will find tons of research on storytelling. This one here, for instance, is Lena Patterson. She had a nice post in 2017 in Harvard Business Publishing. Belongs to Harvard Business School. Lena is an executive coach, psychologist, and an award-winning storyteller. And she comes to the conclusion in her article, story is meaning. Story is meaning. Bullet point is meaningless. Common sense number 3. On October 21st, 2022, my virtual hero, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, will hit the big screen. Black Adam. Millions and millions of people will rush into the cinema. Why? Because stories are fun, stories are entertaining, story is engagement. And you as a business presenter, you want to engage your audience. Why are stories so engaging? 3 stimulators are poured into your body with storytelling. Dopamine, emotion. Cortisol stimulates your memories. And oxytocin, social bonding. You feel more empathy for the storyteller. Story is engagement. Bullet point is story is survival, story is meaning, story is engagement. So why then? Why in the first 5,000 slide presentations, average slide number 6, which means 30,000 slides, why in 13 years were there fewer stories than there's water in Death Valley? That must be one of the biggest paradoxes, contradictions in the history of business presentations. But I have a feeling that I might have found the answer. Here's my two-folded hypothesis. You can challenge me. It's not a fact, it's a hypothesis. 2 sides. First, story is technique. Bicycle, swimming, car, story, it's a technique. And I have seen many people who lack the technique of storytelling. Yeah, but Florian, there's Tina, my colleague, and she's a natural-born storyteller. There are people who are natural-born storytellers. But what you don't see is their childhood. That Tina grew up with her grandparents. Parents had died in a car accident. And she grew up with her grandparents on a farmstead. And there was no TV. Tina, her highlight of the day was listening to her grandfather at the fireplace every night. And the grandfather, who never went to school, he only used analogy, metaphor, 5 senses, touch, smell. You know, Tina learned how to tell stories from her grandfather. And then her colleagues come and say, yeah, but she's a natural-born storyteller. Story is technique, and you can learn it. The other side of the hypothesis, misconceptions. Misconceptions. How many times have people told me in my training sessions, yeah, but Florian, when I tell a story in front of the board of directors, they will say right away, cut it short, get to the point. It's not about getting to the point. Your story is the point. And this combination of a lack of technique and misconceptions is my hypothesis, a two-folded hypothesis that for me must be an explanation for one of the biggest paradoxes in the history of business presentations. But I have a solution for you. A simple solution. You know what? You don't have to tell Black Adam's huge full stories from beginning to end, from prologue to epilogue. No, there is no need to tell huge stories in a business presentation. What you can do, and always in any business presentation in the future, you can always add storytelling elements to your business presentation. And these storytelling elements, let's call them story tapas. Imagine a full story like Plague Adam. Imagine it a 12-course meal. A 12-course meal. And for the storytelling experts here, it's of course completely accidental that I call it a 12-course meal. You don't have to serve a 12-course story meal to the board of directors. I totally agree. Serve them story tapas instead. Here I have 5 story tapas for you that will make sure that your business presentation will be so much tastier. The first one, croquetas. De pollo, de jamón, or de pollo y jamón, croquettes. Wow, I've been living in Barcelona since 2003. I've had so many tapas, and croquetas, they're almost always there. And the best ones are croquetas caseras. Homemade croquetas. Home. The first story tapa is home. Think about all these big movies. How can I enter The Lord of the Rings without knowing the Shire? How can I enter Star Wars, number 4 now, without knowing the planet of Luke? How can I enter any story when I don't know where I am? Every situation you touch in a presentation, like I was in a business meeting, describe the situation. Describe your home. Example. Instead of saying, the other day I had a client meeting, you say, last Monday I'm having dinner with our client, Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia in his green jacket, sitting there ordering his oysters as always. I order my Caesar salad as always, and we discuss our current project. Serve them croquetas. Second story tapa, cold shrimps, gambas. In case you're not vegan or vegetarian, when you have these, the smell, it's still the seawater. And then of course you touch them with your hands. Cool guys use their hands. And your fingers get slimy and wet. And then smell, touch, taste. Serve the story tapa. Senses. We have 5 senses. And I have listened, by the time of this recording, to more than 12,800 speeches in 13 years in 15 countries. And I can tell you, people only talk visually. The report is too long. I'm standing in a village. There is a car. It's always visual. Where are the other? Where's the 80%? You cut out the 80% of my sensorial life, my body, my emotion, my memories, everything you cut out. Serve them shrimps. Now you speak to my body. And every sense is connected to a memory. And every memory is connected to an emotion. Shrimps. Senses. They say that the best seafood in Spain is served in Madrid. Because they carry down all the food from Galicia. Galician food. Seafood is the best seafood in Spain. There's no doubt about it. And one of my absolute favorite tapas, pulpo a la gallega, octopus, Galician style. Amazing! On top of potato, even the potato is different. And then some red pepper on top. Mwah! Delicious. But there's one thing about Galician food, it's a lot. And every single time, even when we share pulpo a la gallega, it's a struggle to finish that tapa. Struggle. No struggle. No story. Serve the story tapa. Struggle. Now, it doesn't have to be the big struggle again, like Frodo, Black Adam, and all these big struggles, Jurassic Park, 7 million T-Rexes popping up everywhere. No. But why do you have to call your PowerPoint slide success factors? Success factors is so boring. I don't want to see the movie We Are Successful. Call it challenges. Call it our biggest struggle, our biggest hurdles. Hurdles is great. It's a metaphor. Even the most ferocious board of directors will connect with you when you share your struggles. So serve them pulpo a la gallega. Story tupper number 4, pimientos del padrón. My little green friends, in Spain we say, pimientos del padrón, unos pican, otros non. Some are spicy, some are not. The ones that are spicy, the hidden ones, that's for me a symbol of the hidden villain in a movie. Like Rapunzel in Shrek. A villain character. Serve the story tapa character. Doesn't have to be a villain. Can be someone like him. Don't you have mentors at work? Can be someone like him. Don't you have a colleague who's a friend who helps you? Can be someone like her. Don't you have an evil client, an evil customer? Add characters to your presentation. And one more tip. Breathe life into the character. They have a name like Pimientos del Padrón. They have a look, my green little friends. And they have personality. Unos pican, otros non. What about your characters in your business presentation? Your customer, your friend, your client, your colleague, your provider, the director, the boss, the board. Breathe life into them. One at a time. Next business presentation, add one character. Serve Pimientos del Padrón. And here's the fifth and final story topper, Patatas Bravas. Have you been to Spain? You cannot go to Spain without having patatas bravas. That's impossible. It's impossible. And there's one thing about patatas bravas. This is really the topper you always share with people. Everyone picks. And over those patatas bravas, what do people do? They talk to each other. And how do they talk to each other? Direct speech. Dialogue. Serve the story topper. Dialogue. This is indirect speech. And then this client, Mr. Garcia, in the French restaurant, he told me to put more emphasis on online marketing. This is direct speech. And then Mr. Garcia, with his green jacket, looks at me and says, can you focus more on online marketing? You feel the difference? Indirect speech, direct speech, super engaging. Super engaging. Use dialogue, direct speech in your business presentations. Serve patatas bravas. And here you have them, 5 tasty story tapas that you can always add to any business presentation. Croquetas caseras, homemade, home situation. Serve them shrimps. Talk to their 5 senses. It's so hard to finish that pulpo a la gallega tapa. It's a struggle, share your struggle. Add at least one character. It doesn't have to be a villain. Like in Pimientos de Patrón, unos pican, otros non. Any character makes it more human, makes it more emotional, makes it more engaging. Serve them patatas bravas. Add dialogue. Super engaging. 5 tasty story tapas to make your business presentations tastier. When you start to serve these 5 story tapas, you know what will happen? You will resolve this huge paradox, contradiction in the history of business presentations. You can serve them. Start to serve them. Tell me about your experience in the comments in case you've done it once. That would be super cool. My next video will be on... Oh, haven't thought about it. Well, you will know. Hasta